Okay. Hi everyone.
Hello,
Welcome.
chess friends.
Welcome to the fifth episode of the Arbiters stream. Where with me I have international arbiter brother Mosiantopoulos from Thessaloniki, and I am Mark Bryan, Fide arbiter from Cyprus, and we will look at the Flagfall Part 3. Brother.
Hello, chess friends. Brother Gerontopoulos here, international arbiter, national lecturer, and here we're going to analyze the third part, as we said, of the Flagfell, with very good friend, Fide arbiter Mark Bryan here, and to also to analyze and to give some answer to two other questions on the same topic. If we are ready, Mark, we can start the
Yes, let's
episode.
start. Let's start the stream. So
Yes.
the first example.
This example is from a game 4 years ago in Greece about two players in the 39 move. You can see the file, the PowerPoint file, as you can see, Mark, in order to show to the evidence and to all the audience in order to understand what we are going to talk about the Flagfell while the time is remaining on the clock and not 0-0 for a player. How this happened? In order to lose a game, a player, when there is remaining time on the clock. Is this possible to happen? What do you think?
Yeah, this can happen. Unfortunately, you can actually lose on time during, as even though your time is on the clock.
Yes,
This is
something
usually
incredible, I think.
clock problems, incorrect clock handling.
Yes, we can see such an example, and maybe it happens also on Olympiad the previous years. The same situation. We can see that. If you give me, this is the game, what happened. This is the diagram on the 39th move. And we're going to analyze the objection. Also, the player with the white pieces made an objection about the behavior of his opponent with the player with the black pieces. So we can see what happened. Do we have the PowerPoint file or to analyze?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Yes, in a game with time control of 90 minutes for 40 moves, then 15 minutes for the end of the game with an increment of 30 seconds per move. Starting from move 1, the player with the black pieces played his move and pressed his clock twice, as a result reaching the 39th move, as it is written in both score sheets. The time remaining for the players with the white pieces was 16 minutes, and for the player with the black pieces was 22 seconds only. The player with the black pieces, having obviously found the irregularity, was baiting deliberately to reach the time under 15 minutes. So just reached at 14 minutes and 58 seconds and stopped the clock, called the arbiter and claimed for flag fall. What does Manuel say about it? It's Article 6.10.1.
Yes. So let's look at the video of the clock.
Yes, of course, Mark.
Let's start with the clock
Yes.
so that everyone can see the clock.
Yes. Each player with from the left side is the player with the white pieces, and from the right side is the player with the black pieces. As you can see here, 14 minutes and 58 seconds for the player with the white pieces, and only 22 seconds with the player with the black pieces. And also, the arbiter has to check the moves. Here, the clock is paused, and with the plus button, we can see the moves. It's 40 moves for each player. They have pressed the clock 40 times each other.
1 minute. I'm going to try to
Yes,
go
yes,
back.
of course. We can
Here.
see that again. Yes.
So here we see that the 40 moves has actually passed, and we are also on the second move period here where it says move period
It's the
2.
second period. Yes, that's right.
So white overstepped the first move period time control. Yeah. So
Yes.
let's move to the Arbiters manual. Let's see what the Arbiters manual says about this.
Yes, in order to explain and if we have any questions from the audience. Okay.
Yeah. Let me check the Arbiters manual. So we're going to Article 6, 10.1.
Yes. Every indication given by the chess clock is considered to be conclusive in the absence of any evident defect. A chess clock with an evident defect shall be replaced by the arbiter, who shall use his best judgment when determining the times to be shown on the replacement chess clock. Also, the explanation: it is desirable to check the clocks during the round, for instance, every 30 minutes, and to record the times and the number of moves made by using a time control sheet. See at the end of the manual. This can be particularly valuable when an increment is used. If a chess clock must be replaced, it must be done as soon as possible. It is essential to mark it as defective and to separate it from the clocks that work correctly. This is the rule. This is the regulation, Mark.
Yes. So
Do you want to add something? Yes.
yeah, so here I think it's very good to add that this is also due to arbiter not being very careful
Yes.
or not having enough arbiters for enough boards, because what I do is if I see that we are reaching move 40, when the players are reaching move 40, I make sure that the clock the players that when it goes to 40 the time comes on, especially when we use move counter.
Yes.
Move counter I do not think is used in every country, but in Cyprus at least we use move counter all the time. So it's very important that once we reach move 40, closing on move 40, that we can see that when the clock adds the time, because as what happened in the situation, the clock added the time prematurely, and then the opponent used this to his advantage, which is not, which is according to the rules legal, but is bad sportsmanship. Can be considered bad sportsmanship. Yes. I guess you're with us. I think Podemos is not with us. So let's go and see the timesheet that is at the end of the manual. Let me find the timesheet. They have a here. So here's a time control sheet. Where you write the game starts at. So when the game started at 4:05, you write 4:05, and then you start checking the clocks after every half an hour. Okay. So here you check the difference between the times plus the moves difference here, and this is how you have to check it every board, every 30 minutes. This is how we check the move. So here we have another example where we have the game is at 6 o'clock. We checked at 6:30. On board 1 there was 80 minutes left. on both two. On white has 80 minutes, black has 85 minutes. Together it's 165 plus 15 moves. So this way it's 15 moves. So 165 minus 15, and the time is 150 minutes. So then, as it's 90 plus 90, which is 180, and 180 minus 30 minutes, is 30 minutes has passed, it's 150. So it should say 150, which it does. So it means that the clock has no mistake. This is used at all major tournaments, all major European and World Championships. They use timesheets as a way to control the clock. I use this. If I'm an arbiter at a big championship. So at the Cyprus Closed and usually at the Cyprus Open, I also use the timesheet because this will give me an opportunity to check that the clocks are not have no mistakes in them, and are not being pressed more than once. Okay. Because if there's a mistake, you can just go and stop the clock and check it. It's a very, very, very useful item. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wait for Bodomos because I think he's. Yes, I'll have a small break until Bodomos joins back. We have some internet issues. Hi Vera, how are you? Unfortunately, Bodomos is having some internet problems, so I'm waiting for him to join us back. First time that I have this internet problems during live stream. Usually the internet is very good when I'm streaming. Okay, I think I'm gonna wait another 2-3 minutes for Podemos to come and join me, and then if he doesn't, we will just continue. I will just continue by myself until he comes and joins. Ah, okay, he's here.
Sorry, apologies.
No
Problem with the
problem.
connection. Apologies. As I said, Mark, sorry about that. In a future episode, we're going to analyze the chess clock and to make set with the settings, and
Yes,
also some videos to represent.
we didn't
And
hear anything. Okay, so basically, while you were away, we looked at the Arbiters manual.
yes, very nice.
Vera says hello. Podemo. Mag- Magi σου λέει γεια η Vera.
Oh, thank you, Vera. Nice to meet you. Have a good this episode for you. And if you want any, you have any question, I don't know if you want to ask something about this episode and this topic.
Yes, I'll just quickly recap what we said before when you were
Yes,
gone. Uh, Basically, we were saying about the use of this what is it called? The time control sheet.
yes,
That this I don't know, is it used in Greece quite often or no?
yes. On in big competitions, national, international competition, not in final competition. Let's say European world competition of Fide. Yes, this is the time.
Yes, we were saying that this is very important. It's used in European and World Championships. I learned about it while I went to the Chess Olympiad. I learned how to use it. I use it as well extensively.
Yes,
It's very good. It gives you a very good idea about how the clocks are working. If
this
they
has
are,
to do in order to be the arbiter up from the table and the board, in order to check and to watch the game, not
yes,
to write down only the remaining moves or the remaining time. As I said previously, Mark, in a future episode, we are going to analyze some chess clocks and the
yeah,
time
which is very
controls also.
important.
Yes, I have many time controls. As you see in the last seminar, I have sent
Yes,
some time controls in order to explain to the audience what's about. We want to write the time, the first time one, time two, the board, the plus, the move, the differences, in order to explain and to understand what this is about.
yes, it's very important because
Yes,
an
of course.
arbiter should be proactive. You know, he should be actively participating, not
Yes,
passively sitting there watching,
yes, on just watching
drinking coffee.
from a distance. Yes, that's right. We
He
will,
should be
yes, I
more
have these topics.
proactive.
I have organized that for future episode, and we're going to analyze some things like that.
Yeah.
So, at the first example, we can see the diagram, if you
Yes, let's
want,
go to
in
the
order
lead
to see
chess.
the game. Yes, from the first example.
So we're in this position,
Yes,
and as you were saying, the game. As you were saying here, White's time lapsed, not lapsed, but went down under 15 minutes, which was the second time control, which was added by mistake to the clock due to multiple
yes,
pressing the button multiple times. So you were saying that the arbiter declared the game won for black. And yeah, explain to us what.
The last move from the player with the black pieces was Queen B6 from D8
Yes.
square. This was the last, yes, the last move. And then press twice the bottoms and his opponents and his own bottom, and then claim to the arbiter when the time goes down from 15 minutes at 14 minutes and 58 seconds. Then claim, stop the clock and claim to the arbiter a flag fall, although the time was remaining on the chess clock. This is something unusual, something unbelievable, something that it's difficult to understand. Why I'm losing from time when I have remaining timing on my clock? How does it happen? This is something that has to do with the moves.
Could white not complain about black's attitude?
Yes. Also, if he plays, this is from the beginning on a school tournament, let's say, with little children,
Yeah.
play twice moves without pressing the bottom of the chess clock. And then it's on 40 moves and on score sheets, and on chess clock it's 38 or 37. It happened very many times on youth tournaments, let's say, or school tournaments.
Yeah, or sometimes the clock, when you press it, it bounces back, and then you
Yes.
press again. I had that. Yeah, that was
And I have to say this references. What's the differences between the chess players and the arbiters? As I said in the seminar, do you remember that, Mark?
Yeah.
Say that to the
I
audience.
forgot. I remember you asking, but I forgot what you said.
Yes, what's the difference? Chess players have to think about the next moves. The arbiters
Think about the
have to think
previous.
about the previous move before playing. This
Yes.
the differences. You have to find out what was already played on the chessboard. If you want to be a good arbiter, or who else? This is the main difference.
Yeah, I now I remember. I always forget, but then
It's so no, it's something that you will use it for your own seminars in the future, and it's something very useful. And this is an unusual situation. This one to have a remaining time, and the player claims the flag fell. This is something that it's very difficult to understand. If we have any question about this situation, this topic, this
yeah, let's see.
yes, of course,
Because I had something similar in the Cyprus
yes, why
close
not?
championship where the players were playing the last moves of the game, and every time the player was pressing the clock would come back automatically because the player was
Yes,
pressing it a bit hard, and it was getting back, and we had to keep changing clocks until we found a clock that would not come back. And it was like always funny, removing the 30 seconds, setting the new clock, removing the 30 seconds, setting the new clock. And we, yeah, because I think the new clocks, they break easier, so this happens.
yes,
Yes. So since there's no questions, let's go to the second topic for today.
yes, of course. You can carry on. Yes,
In the second topic, we're gonna look at the default time because there's a lot of misunderstanding. What does the default time mean? So when does a player lose by default?
yes, we can see that. Yes,
Fide runs zero zero zero. What is it called? Zero tolerance by default.
yes,
So there's a zero tolerance unless the organizers state in the regulations otherwise. Otherwise, it's a zero tolerance. And the rule is when does this count? And we had a game recently in the Cyprus Open where one of the players came after the default time, but he still was allowed to play. So let's see what happened. So 3 o'clock, the game is supposed to be beginning. So at 3 o'clock, the round begins in the Cyprus Open. And we have default time 15 minutes unless the arbiter decides otherwise, which means if you don't notify the arbiter early enough, we do not extend the default time. Due to you don't know, maybe somebody has a car problem, maybe there's some big. We had this in the Cyprus Youth Championship last year. We had a 1 hour delay for players from Limassol because we had a huge forest fire closing the highway.
Yes.
So we run in Cyprus a 15-minute default time plus including maybe some other. So the player did not inform the arbiter. The player showed up at I think 3:18, 3:19, and the debate was whether he should lose due to default or should not lose due to default. His clock did not show the passing of the 15 minutes because his opponent was late. So there was this debate when did the 15 minutes count? Must the 15 minutes come off the clock of the opponent? When does it come? So let's see what the arbiters manual say. This is what I explained before, that if the regulations of an event specify that default time is not 0, neither present, white shall lose all the time that lapses until he arrives.
Yes.
So basically, the player was black, which means the white clock started. So the white player came after 8 minutes, so the time turned. Sorry, not 8 minutes, 3-4 minutes. And then the clock starts of the black player. And then this is where we need to read the notes. The start of the session is the moment when the arbiter announces it, which means not 3 o'clock, which is a stated time in the regulations. It's when the arbiter actually tells you you may start the round, which in this case was 3:05 or 3:04. So then it is here. It is advisable that the arbiter publicly announces the time of the start of the round and that he writes down the starting time. This is very important that we write down the starting time. If we don't write down the starting time, we don't know when the default time ends, and we are not allowed to rely on the clock. Because as we said, white might have come late and the clock of black did not start until much later. So here it says, if the default time is, for example, 30 minutes and the round was scheduled to start at 3 but actually started at 3:15, then players do not lose by default until 3:45. So here what we have to do is, the game was supposed to start at 3. It actually started at 3:05. We run a default time of 15 minutes. So he is not disqualified, defaulted until 3:20, regardless of the time remaining on the clock. This is what the arbiter manual says.
Yes.
So the arbiter's decision is the player may play because the player was within the 15-minute time frame from when the game actually started to begin. It's very important to know here the difference between we don't wait for the clock to fall below 1:14:59. We wait for the time on the clock to show that 15 minutes have passed from the yeah. So that was this is an example that I had, yes, from the site recently. I think it was last weekend where we
Yes,
had this
very
case.
useful example, and Nordo, it's very good, not only for us and for the arbiter stream, and for the audience and all the chess players and the arbiters, in order to have to give them some guidelines about the rules, about the regulations, about these situations with differences between the chess clock and the remaining time. And this example has to do not only with be in the future competitions for every player. It's something very, very common.
Yes, I think in very big Fide tournaments, they add a very big clock outside so that you can see the time.
Yes.
So that they know, like, this is the time that you've been defaulted. Yeah, I think these are the examples that we
Also has to do just a minute. Have to add it. Also has to do with the schedule of the competition.
Yes, it's very important.
Important is what's about the schedule. Has zero tolerance. Has 30 minutes. Has to do now from the starting time of the competition on from the starting time when they press the clocks. It's something different.
Once the arbiter declares the game, the round has begun. That's when the 15
when the
minutes
arbiters
go.
and
Yes.
the chief arbiter to give the
Instruction.
order
Yes.
to start, not the arbiter of the venue of the playing hall.
No, it's the chief arbiter's choice. Yes.
Only, not from the microphones. But this has to do. This happened in a school tournament previous years, 2018. Also, the arbiter has a class of a primary school and started the games without the chief arbiter's orders. And this was something against the rules of the competition. And they have to punish the arbiter about this decision because he started the class without the orders of the chief arbiters. But school competition has to do with because there are many children, and you have to go on very quickly in order to finish on time.
Yes, then what you could do is if you started too early, don't start the opponent's clock until the chief arbiter says the clocks may be started.
Yes, it goes one by one. I mean, one class by one class.
Yeah.
When one class finished the round, then you put them for the next round. Not to finish all the school, all the classes in order to put inside the playing hall for the next round. This has to do also with school tournaments. I don't know if it's something good to explain that. Also has to do with the schedule and the tolerance of the schedule. There are the very differences. The main differences is this: it's 30 minutes or 1 hour. It depends. The time tolerance from the starting time of the competition. I mean, at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Every day the round starts at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Or every Sunday we play the team competitions here, team championship. At every Sunday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And this is the schedule of our union said that the tolerance is half an hour from the time starting from the schedule, not from the time from the arbiter. I mean,
is that
maybe
allowed?
on a match, the match arbiter will start at 5 and 20 past 5 o'clock. This is what I mean. This does not mean that after 10 minutes, if a player is not on his board, you lose the game. Not to wait until 42-6 something. I mean,
yes.
Another half an hour.
I noticed that giving half an hour.
Half an hour from the starting from the schedule.
Yes, that's a bit much.
This is on the schedule, but there are schedules. I would say that announce that half an hour from the arbiters start.
Yes, the regulation states
this
on
is
the
different.
Yes,
it's not the same. Yes.
I remember we used to have 30-minute default time, but with 30-minute default time, I personally
All
noticed
time
that
from what?
too
You have
many
to
people
explain that.
from the time the
The
arbiter
schedule
starts the
or
round,
from the starting of the arbiters
starting of the
decision?
arbiter's round. It's a bit
Yes,
that it leads to many players coming late. Because you know,
yes,
30 minutes is a lot of time, you know. I don't mind coming 5 minutes late. That's why in Cyprus we now put 15 minutes late if you don't have a serious reason. If you have a serious reason, we will even give you 30 minutes or maybe more.
yes.
But only if
I
you have a
had
serious option. This way, only 1 or 2 players are late because they do not have serious reasons to be late. And 15 minutes is not a lot of time to be late. It's risky to be late.
also I had an experience previous some years ago with a scheduled international tournament which had zero tolerance, and the game was between two GM, two Grand Maître players. The player with the white pieces goes at the toilet. The player with the black pieces goes out for a cigarette, and they came 1 minute later, and then I have to 0-0 for to both players to give this result. Not
Because
0-0. It's
it's
with
Fide,
the
they have to be at
forfeit.
the
Let's
board,
say
yes?
forfeit without playing again. This is not a rated game.
I thought the player just needs to be in the venue, no?
Yes, but they have to play the move. Yes, I know at the venue in order to have the present of to be present on the venue or on the playing hall. Yes, on the playing hall, not on the venue. Yes,
The playing hall, yes, you have to be in the playing hall.
have to
Uh,
be in the playing hall. Yes,
you don't have to be
and this is
actually.
the difference: is venue and playing hall. The playing hall is the area inside that the games are played. Venue is all, let's say, the hotel, the toilets, the
Yes, let me just.
the analyzed room. Yes, this is all the. I don't know. Do we have any other
It
the
says
second question?
the chess regulations in the arbiter's manual stated
Yes,
very clear. The regulation of an event shall specify that if any player who arrives at the chessboard. This used to be the venue. This used to be playing hall. It has changed to chessboard.
yes,
Yes, I remember it being playing venue. Now it's chessboard, which means
the
that
chessboard.
I could be outside
Yes,
being checked by the arbiter for electronical devices and then come after before the default time. So it's my responsibility as a chess player to be
yes,
to take into consideration the time needed to go past all necessary controls before the game starts. This is a very important. It's like going to an airport. Do we have any questions? Other questions on the flag form regarding flag or any other questions? Okay, I think Podemos is again gone. So since we don't have any questions, I would like to thank everyone for watching. We will start with a new topic in 2 weeks. Um, enjoy your week and have a nice evening. Good night.